Welcome to another Telltale Books video. I'm Greg, and I'm continuing my Stephen King / Night Shift series that I've been doing so many of, and we are getting closer to the end now. There's not too many more to go, but it is a very thick book, a lot of stories in this book. Most of his earliest short stories are in here, and there's a lot of good stuff. A lot of them have been adapted for movies, which is the case with the story I'm talking about tonight, which is number 38 in my Stephen King bibliography listing, which may or may not be accurate, but it is Children of the Corn, which was published in Bob Guccioni's Penthouse magazine in March of 1977. And I, of course, have it in my beautiful Cemetery Dance edition of the Night Shift collection, which has an awesome cover illustration based on Children of the Corn. Beautiful, beautiful book. Worth it. Cost me a bit of money, but it was definitely worth it because there's so many amazing stories that came out of this book. And it is such a well-made, beautiful book. The production on this was top-notch. This was just published in 2020, so not that long ago. It's already, of course, it's a limited edition, so it was out of print very quickly. You can find it on the used market, but you're going to pay. I did. Definitely more than what Cemetery Dance sold it for. But I think it's worth it. A book this well done. This is going to hold up for a long time. It's a joy to read. Very well produced, very well designed, awesome illustrations, everything you could ask for in a special edition book. Even a really well done slipcase. So, Children of the Corn, of course, everybody has, well, maybe not everybody, I shouldn't say that. But a lot of you, I'm sure, are familiar with the movie that was made and which then became a whole series of movies. I'm not even sure how many have been made to date. A lot of them were made direct to video. So I think it's at least 6 different movies that have been made based on this idea of the Children of the Corn. And the basic synopsis: you're in rural Nebraska and a couple is driving down the highway and they hit somebody. They stop in the nearest town to report it, but the town seems deserted and something creepy is going on. The story is brilliantly done, very atmospheric, very creepy, very understated. The movie goes into a lot of detail of this whole religious thing behind the Children of the Corn. The book only hints at that stuff, gives you glimpses of it. It does not give you the whole story. It leaves a lot to your imagination. But it builds it in such a way that your imagination is fired up and runs. And it's a brilliant story, very well written, very tense, good characterization, good plotting. It's only a novelette. It's not a short story. It's longer than a short story, but it's not super long. And this is definitely one of King's very best stories, in my opinion. I've given this a top tail. I recommend it wholeheartedly to all horror fans, all Stephen King fans, everybody that wants to dip their toes in and try it. This is a good place to start. It's an excellent story. It's short enough that it won't take up a huge amount of your time. You're going to read it inside of one evening. You'll probably inside of an hour. And if you're like me, you're going to be blown away by it. No guarantees there, but this has all the ingredients necessary for a horror story that's really going to grab you. Unless you're really into intense gore and violence and sex and all that kind of stuff, that's not here. King usually keeps that kind of stuff a little more understated than what other people do. But in 1977, when this was published, he was pushing the bar on those things. There wasn't much of anybody going farther than King was with the graphic descriptions. So this one's a classic. This one's definitely a classic. This is up there with the best horror stories. It's going to go down in history and be well remembered and well loved. So have you read Children of the Corn? Do you think I'm full of crap in saying all that? Or do you agree with me, or do you have some other ideas? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Don't get too spoilery, but I think with a story like this that is so famous, you can go a little further, maybe draw some comparisons between movie and the story. It's been a long time since I've seen the movie, so I can't get into too much detail about um, comparing the movie and the story. It's just been too long. I got to rewatch that movie one of these days. I did enjoy the first one. The later sequels are not so well done. I would skip all those, but the first one I thought was really well done. And that's all I got to say about it. Like us and subscribe to us. Come on back for more. I've got a lot more Stephen King. That was number 38 on my list. The next one, The Cat from Hell, number 39 on my list. Come on back for my review of that and all the other Stephen King and all the other authors that we talk about here in Telltale Books.